So let's just get right into it. You've spent years grinding, acing every single exam, and now you have it, that perfect 4.0 GPA. It feels like a golden ticket, right? Your key to landing that dream career. But what if I told you that in the real world, that perfect score could be the very thing that gets your resume tossed straight into the trash? Yeah, you heard that right. It's a pretty brutal reality, but it happens in hiring offices every single day. And this isn't just some theory. This statement comes directly from HR professionals who see it with their own eyes. These seemingly perfect CVs often get discarded before the interview process even has a chance to begin. So, why? What is going on here? Well, it really all boils down to this fundamental difference. The professional world, it isn't a classroom. It's more like a battlefield. It demands way more than just academic intelligence. The ability to memorize facts for a test. It demands street smarts. That's the practical intelligence you need to adapt, to navigate chaos, and frankly, to survive. And the numbers? Well, they don't lie. A staggering 90% of job applicants with perfect GPAs often fail basic, open-ended logic tests. And we're not talking about questions from a textbook. No, these are designed to see how you think on your feet, how you connect the dots when there's no clear answer key. It's really the first big sign of a massive disconnect between top grades and real-world problem-solving skills.
So here's the bottom line. Companies are not looking for a walking library, someone who can just recite theories from a textbook. They are desperate for problem solvers, people who can fix what's broken, innovate, and actually derive results. In today's fast-moving world, a 4.0 without survival skills is just a very expensive piece of paper. So let's count down the 5 fatal signs that your academic brilliance might just be your biggest professional weakness.
All right, let's start with the first 2 signs. These are usually the most obvious red flags to a hiring manager, the ones that reveal those first cracks in that perfect academic armor. First up, we've got what I can only describe as the human calculator problem. This is the person who is absolutely brilliant with data and logic, but is completely tone-deaf when it comes to actual human interaction. They can come across as socially awkward and seriously lacking in emotional intelligence. And this is exactly how those robotic behaviors show up. An interviewer might ask a simple, casual question about your hobbies, just trying to see if you'd be a good person to work with. But the robotic candidate just can't compute. They answer with cold, hard data, totally missing the social cue. You have to remember, companies are hiring a colleague, not just a calculator. Your 4.0 is worthless if you make everyone in the office feel tense and awkward. So what's the fix? It's really about retraining your brain. Always prioritize the human connection before you start throwing around data. Listen to understand people, not just to win a debate and show how smart you are. And yes, you have to learn how to make small talk. It is not a waste of time. It is the currency of workplace relationships. Okay, on to the next sign, and this one can be even more off-putting to employers. It's the belief that your amazing grades mean you're somehow too good for the grunt work. This is that classic, I was hired to be a strategist, not an administrative assistant mindset. This mentality creates a huge disconnect. In your mind, you're this brilliant strategist above all the tedious tasks. But in the employer's mind, you're getting a label, high maintenance, low contribution. They see someone who's insulted by basic work. But how can you ever come up with a brilliant strategy if you don't understand the ground level problems? Real leaders are never, ever too proud to get their hands dirty. The solution here? It's all about humility. You have to get your ego out of the way. There's a philosophy called go to the spot, which means go to where the work is actually happening. You need to start seeing those tedious tasks not as a punishment, but as a priceless opportunity to find the real cracks in the system, because that's where you'll find the problems truly worth solving. Okay, let's dive into signs number 3 and 2. Now we're moving beyond just behavior and into the core mindsets that can totally paralyze a high achiever in a corporate setting. We call this one syllabus syndrome. Think about it. For 4 years, your life was perfectly structured. You had a syllabus, crystal clear grading rules, and a professor to give you step-by-step instructions for everything. You became an expert at following directions, not at navigating chaos. But the working world is chaos. It's a jungle, not a classroom. And this is the critical mental shift you have to make. When your boss gives you a vague problem like, hey, sales are down 15%, fix it. The passive employee asks, how? What are the steps? They're just waiting for a new syllabus. But the proactive employee, the problem solver, they come back and say, okay, I've analyzed it. I have 3 options for us. Here are the risks for each. Which one should we execute? One is a follower. The other is a future leader.
And next up, we have a very modern problem, becoming over-reliant on technology to do your thinking for you. I mean, let's be honest. How much of that final thesis was your own raw, critical thinking? And how much was a cleverly polished paraphrase from ChatGPT or a quick Google search?
We're seeing what's being called the AI jockey generation. Your brain has basically become a router. It's great at forwarding information, but it's not a processor that creates original thought. The second an HR manager puts you in a room with just a pen, some paper, and a case study, no phone, no internet, you freeze. Your brain just buffers. You can't think on the spot because the tools you rely on have been taken away.
The only cure for this is to force your brain to go back to the gym. You have to practice deep thinking the old-fashioned analog way. Lock yourself in a room for 2 hours with nothing but a notebook and a pen. Take a really complex problem and break it down to its most fundamental truths. You have to rebuild those critical thinking muscles that have weakened over time.
And now we've arrived at the number one reason, the single most fatal sin that causes a perfect CV to get rejected on sight. Honestly, this is the one mistake that makes all the others totally irrelevant.
Here it is. The biggest mistake you can make is treating your diploma like it's a trophy to be displayed instead of a weapon to be used. You see it as proof that you are competent, when in reality, it's just a ticket to get to the starting line. Your real competence has yet to be proven.
This is the core illusion that traps so many top students. Getting an A in a marketing class doesn't automatically mean you can sell a single thing. A perfect score in a journalism course doesn't mean you can write an article that anyone actually wants to read. In the brutal marketplace of talent, that assumption is just pure fantasy.
And here's how this plays out on your actual CV. The before version is just a passive claim. It says, passed marketing management course with an A. Okay, so what? It doesn't prove anything. But look at the after version. It says, helped a small business increase sales turnover by 15%. Now that is proof of impact. It shows you used your knowledge to create a tangible, real-world result. One is just boasting about a grade, the other is demonstrating value. Which person do you think an employer wants to hire? It's a no-brainer.
So, after all these warnings, what's the actual solution? I mean, the goal isn't to be less smart academically. Not at all. The goal is to evolve, to become a new kind of professional. You need to become a street-smart scholar. This is the ultimate deadly hybrid. You keep all the discipline, the rigor, and the analytical skills from your academic training, but you combine them with the adaptability of the street, a wild sense of initiative, and a portfolio filled with undeniable proof that you can get things done. So I'll leave you with this one final critical question. Take a hard, honest look at your resume, and more importantly, at your mindset right now. Is it a monument to your past academic achievements, or is it a compelling argument for your future value? Is your CV proof that you're smart, or is it proof that you can actually work? Really think about it.